What is up, guys? Wraec is here with a new video, and today I want to talk about the changes DH made to the Fantasy Arcade, and specifically the Fort Defense Trial mode. And what they did was they basically removed the farmable Stellar from this game mode. People were used to those boxes that are now up here, that include the 2,500 Stellar. Those were in here as well, and you could farm up to 100,000 Stellar a day. Realistically, those were 90k because you would restart on 91. Another chest was on 95, and 95 was pretty hard to reach unless you started from 1 again, which took 2 hours. So like, well, you would have probably settled for 90,000 Stellar a day. And DH removed that, and the thing is, I think they were right on it. And I have to put a little disclaimer here. I don't want to discuss, or I am not discussing, whether or not we need more sources of Stellar in the game. There's certainly an argument for that, but in my opinion, people mix up the discussion on that too much. People say like, yeah, the H is wrong for removing the Stellar because we need more sources of Stellar in the game. Well, I tend to agree that we do need more sources of Stellar in the game, or that it would be kind of interesting and it would be about time for that. But it is no part of the discussion whether or not it should be in this game mode. The Stellar could be in any game mode for that. We could have another layer of Void Vortex with more Stellar on it, and that would solve the problem as well. The thing with having it in this game mode is that it's horribly displaced, in my opinion. And that is another argument or another discussion in itself. Should it be in this game mode, or should it be in the game at all? Two topics, two different things, two different arguments to be made. And today it is, should it be in this game mode and not removed from the entire game? So if you want to say like, yeah, we need more Stellar, and that's why the H shouldn't have removed it from it, kind of in the wrong argument made. That is another argument to be made in another video, and we can talk about resource scarcity definitely in another video, but not today. So, why do I think that DH, well, I don't want to say they made the right move, because that is wrong as well. I don't think they made the right move, but they found the right nerf. So, that they didn't find the right move, well, obviously, people are upset. Can't really have been right, in my opinion. And they are rightfully upset because, yeah, well, you put this in here, you showed people that there are 90 or 100k Stellar to farm here every day. One of the biggest resource incomes that we have in the game. And they took like 1 or 2 or 3 days of intense farming, spending like 5-6 months, some days 7 hours farming this game mode, trying to reach wave 100. To get here, even fighting through a bug at wave 100 sometimes set some people back, trying again then. And some people even risk their relationships, I heard. To get to wave 100, to get those rewards, to get to the point where they could farm for those 90k Stellar, and then you took it away. The moment they got it, it was basically gone, and that just feels bad. That just feels bad. I can understand anybody that was farming for this and said like, wow, I'm really upset that they removed that. Rightfully so. That was handled in the absolutely wrong way and should have never been the case. That, but on the other hand, it should have never been in here. We still have 1 million Stellar in here, by the way. Those are one-time rewards though. So the game mode changed a little bit on that sense. Instead of bringing farmable game mode that gives a permanent income of Stellar, we now have the one-time income that you can earn one time. It's like 400 chests in here, it's 1 million Stellar. Still pretty decent. I could imagine that being in some early game guides where they say like, okay, early game, farm to your first E5, and on the way, play a little bit of this game mode, get yourself in the position where you can go for like wave 100, get yourself 1 million Stellar, and when you earn your first E5, bam, you go to V3 immediately, and that is pretty nice. That is pretty nice. I could definitely see that in some early to mid-game guides. And that is the position this game mode is now in. Why do I think the farmability of those resources was misplaced? Well, we have to consider a little bit what this game mode really required. And what is usually required to go that way. So, Basically, the way you approach this game mode is you could make a new account. You could enter this game mode. You would do your normal mode stages, 10 normal mode stages. You could, if you have the time, you could do all of them on day 1. With a little bit of gems, you would have another 2 attempts at the trial mode, probably bringing you up after you clear the normal mode to maybe like 10, 15, I could imagine. Maybe 20 if you're really good. And that gave you a bunch of hammers. On the next day, you would have farmed a little bit more, got more tech, and eventually your tech would be maxed. If you're really good at it, maybe you could do it day 2. Otherwise, day 3, you would have a solid chance at it with like upgraded, full upgraded tech, etc. And then you would farm and would go for it. There is no requirements in terms of having like insane heroes, having A tiers, having any E5, having a 10 star even. You could go do that basically on the 3rd day. So what does it end up meaning? Well, on the 3rd day, you would have a stellar income of 90,000 stellar a day. Or if you spend even more time, 100,000. But for the video, we want to assume 90,000. So 3rd day of playing, you don't have an E5, you don't have, well, even a 10 star, you have 90,000 stellar a day. And that is absolutely insane. So now we take all other ways of getting stellar and we check out what they do. So first of all, we go into the Gate of the Void, because that is where most sources of stellar are. There's a little bit in the Aspen Dungeon Purgatory part as well, but most of it is here. And the primary source for it has always been Void Vortex. And basically, to get to this point, to even see this screen, you need an E5. Meaning, you would have to grind quite a bit. You have to play those game modes, you have to play, farm a little bit of, well, heroic scrolls, maybe Prophet Ops, something like that, some materials. And you will have to need to get to this point. Getting your first E5 takes a long time, more than 3 days. Well, unless you are a whale, then it takes 10 minutes. But that is another story. And then you unlock Void Vortex and you clear your first stage of Void Vortex, and that is, you have to scroll a little bit, Forerunner. And Forerunner 6 gives you 10,000 stellar. Plus a smash, but there is not really anything to smash, so it is 10,000 stellar. And if we scroll up here, well, our reward income increases to 45,000 stellar at Dominator, plus an additional, maybe I think like about 100,000 that you can get for smashing this. Meaning we get like 150k stellar per opening of Dominator, sometimes a bit more, can go even with luck in the direction of 200k, depends. So let's say it's 175k. 175k. So now we have Dominator, or we have Void Vortex. If we check that out, it's 2 times a week, Tuesday, Saturday. And then we have it like, we have like 350k stellar from that. 350k stellar is about 50k a day. That's not a whole lot, actually, compared to the 90k we got from Fantasy Arcade. What you have to do, though, is you have to grind up every single stage. With every single stage, you will need a stronger account. You will need stronger heroes. You will need faster heroes. You will have to build up your account even more. You will even have to go ahead. You will need even need some star spawns for CI offset or something like that. You will have to get into the game and do that. You will maybe need a Starving Jara. Still a pretty decent way to clear Dominator, to do it with a Starving Jara. It's one of the primary methods I showed you guys in the guide I made for it, to get some CC out. Then you are at topic of CC, you need some Rui Scepter, maybe you need some Demon Belts, you need some other heroes. SQH could go within there. You can put like a DTV on top to get like the damage that you require to do so. You will have to grow the attack and speed on those. And also you might need a home, a residence, with some materials in there. You will have to go into events to do that. You will have to get artifacts. You will have to play months and months and months to go to the point where you can do a Dominator clear, where you can do a Vanquisher clear, and all the way upgrading your account. And this just feels very weird if you compare it to Fantasy Arcade, because we spent 3 days on Fantasy Arcade to get to like wave 100. While in the same time, for all other game modes, we have to upgrade our accounts. Same goes for Ramsgate. Farm up like 1 Void Corruption every single day. go ahead, do your smashes, eventually unlock like the perfect smash, well, void energy is below 30, unlock a perfect smash. But to get to void corruption, you have to like fight increasingly harder stages, increasingly harder teams, and you have to build up your own team to combat that, to even be able to perfectly sweep those teams, to perfectly sweep those tiles. And it takes a long time because you don't have that perfect smash at the beginning. And maybe you will have to settle for one stage for a little bit of time to ensure that you can 100% clear it, especially against Dark Team or some stuff. So there's a lot of strategy and time and team building involved here. That is just not here for Fantasy Arcade. It's just not the same. It doesn't exist in here. And usually the way this works, and that you can also see in Void Vortex, by the way, is you start on an early stage where the requirements are on your account and the heroes that you need are lower, and you start here and you clear that. And on the next stage where you get more rewards, well, the requirements on your heroes are higher. And that increases and increases and increases, so you need stronger and stronger and stronger heroes to unlock the higher and higher rewards. And the reason I think the nerf on Fantasy Arcade was rightfully done is because it just didn't fit in that scheme. You did need nothing. You did need nothing and still got an insane reward, which makes no sense. It just makes no sense to put that in the game like this. It makes the rewards from all other game modes seem bad. So if you then go on playing and you go for like Void Vortex, okay. I mean, like the added Stellar of course is nice, but like it still feels pretty weird for you. You get like a minimal Stellar income, while the first time we actually got Void Vortex, it was like, hey, that is the place where you get the Stellar. And then it makes just no sense to introduce a game mode that trivializes your Stellar gain. Again, I have to say, I'm not discussing how much or how little Stellar we need to get. I'm, as I said, all for them introducing another Void Vortex stage, where we probably would get more Stellar, but that is another story in itself. So, the relationship between having to build up stronger heroes and a stronger account, and the rewards that you get for that, just wasn't there here. You need nothing, you got a lot. Makes no sense. Was it good for the player? Obviously. Obviously. No questions asked. It was insane. I mean, like, there was a reason people were hyped about it. There was a reason people wanted to clear it immediately. No questions asked. It was insane. But, I mean, like, think back. Why was it so insane? Why were people so hyped about it? Because it was overpowered. It was overpowered. It was just so strong that it was honestly stupid. I was baffled when I saw it the first time. I was saying like, okay, that is like 100k Stellar income. And you don't need a single E5 for it. You don't need a single 10-star for it. You don't need any artifacts for it. That is just not Idle Heroes. It's just not the way Idle Heroes works. Did they do badly at it? Of course. It was horrible by the age. They did horribly bad. Nerfing the game mode after they introduced it, and everybody should have seen it at the age. Everybody at the age should have seen that this was wrong. And the reason that it was wrong initially was apparently because some of the scrap developers from the games they discontinued at the beginning of the year, they had some, or last year I think even, they had some problems in the company where they noticed that some of the games they developed didn't really make them any money, and that led for them to focus on like Idle Heroes, some like the other game that they have, I forgot the name, and to the introduction of some game modes that we got, like Force War was brought from another game to us, and apparently there were some developers that didn't have to do anything or weren't really integrated in team, were helping here and there, and they now got the task to develop some of those mini games, which is why we have this Fantasy Arcade that doesn't fit into the game, and in my opinion still is weird. But apparently some other games do that too, so I guess they're copying them. And those guys have no idea about Idle Heroes. So you can't really blame them. They try to do their best making this. The mode still sucks. I described that in the other video. Just look a few days back, you will find it. But like they had no idea about Idle Heroes, put those rewards in here, and apparently nobody from the main Idle Heroes team thought they would check on that or check if that makes sense or put any time towards checking out if that game mode is really fit for introducing to the Idle Heroes economy. And neither did they notice during the time this was live on TapTap, so I have no idea. Some communication errors, maybe the age not looking at what they actually release. But just badly handled, all in all, by the age. And I mean, a bad nerf in that sense that really annoyed the players, that really hurt some players. They put the time towards farming it. But right in the sense that it was the way to go forward with the game. It just doesn't work that you introduce rewards to game modes that have nothing to do essentially with the main gameplay of Idle Heroes and give better rewards than core game modes. That is just a stupid way to design your team. Big rewards in Idle Heroes just need bigger accounts, which doesn't necessarily mean whale accounts, but it means you at least have to get some of the artifacts, have played the game for a certain amount of time, have to get yourself something like a Starving Jara, and then you can go ahead, you clear the game mode with a certain strategy. And then you get your big reward of your smashes for Dominator or your rewards for Dominator. And that then makes sense, but this just doesn't make sense. So you can write your opinion down in the comments if you want. I hope you guys watched that video. Last time I sadly saw a few people that wrote their opinion without even taking a look at the video, which I always find quite saddening, I have to say. But yeah, I guess that's the way this works. In any way, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing if I haven't annoyed you with my view on this Stellar issue. As I said, I don't want to take away the Stellar from you. No way, shape or form. I think you deserve all the Stellar that you can get. Just I want it to be in a way that is healthy for the game. Like a new game mode that fits somewhere in the game. Maybe an endgame game mode, something like this. We haven't seen the vortex stage for some time. Could have all been in there. Just no game mode like this. The role that it has right now, I think it's okay. Not very appealing though, not farmable, no sense in farming it. But that is another story. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day.